Good Shabbos, everyone. This week's Parsha is out of Vayigash. Parshas Vayigash, Yosef reveals his identity to his brothers, and Yaakov and their entire household descend to Egypt. First, Yaakov goes to Be'er-Sheva, and there in Be'er-Sheva, he brings offerings unto God. And God appears to Yaakov at night, and he says, I am God, the God of your father. Do not be afraid to descend to Egypt, because for a great nation, I will make you there. I will place you there. God tells him, I will go down with you and I will bring you up. From the fact that Hashem has to tell Yaakov not to be afraid to go to Egypt, we see that indeed Yaakov had great concern. Now Yaakov obviously was aware of the prophecy of the Bris Ben Abisarim, the covenant between the parts, in which God tells Avraham that you should know that your descendants will be strangers in a foreign land. So Yaakov knew there would be an exile. So why was Yaakov so frightened that he would be going down to Egypt? And Hashem tells him that he should not be frightened because for a great nation I will make you there. I will make you a great nation. Whatever Yaakov's concern was, what is the fact that Hashem is saying, I'll make you a great nation there? Well, why does it have to be there? If you want to make me a great nation, make me a great nation somewhere else. If Yaakov has issues with going to Egypt, why did it have to be Egypt? And another question the Or Chaim asks, why does Hashem say, Le goy godol? Like for or to a great nation, I will make you. What Hashem should have said, do not be afraid to go down to Egypt. Ki goy godol asimcha. For a great nation, I will make you. I'll make you a great nation there. But Hashem doesn't say, I will make you a great nation. He says, I will make you to a great nation or for a great nation. Doesn't seem to make any sense. Yaakov was very concerned because, as we know, Egypt was the center of the greatest depravity, moral depravity. We know that when Avraham's wife, Sarah, was taken by Avimelech, king of the Plishtim, so when Avimelech learned that indeed Sarah is a married woman, he returns her to Avraham and he says, please stay with us, stay here, dwell amongst us, teach us, guide us. Earlier, there was a similar incident in which Avraham went to Egypt because of a famine, and Sarah was taken to Paro to be his queen. Paro also was afflicted with all types of ailments, and upon learning that Sarah is Avraham's wife, he returns Sarah to Avraham, and he says, I will send an escort to enable you to leave Egypt. Why didn't Paro say as Avimelech did? Avraham, you are a prince of God. You are a prophet. Stay here amongst us. Teach us. Sages explain because Paro knew that Egypt was the center and the source of all moral depravity, and the people would not be receptive to the teachings of Avraham. And for that reason, Yaakov was now extremely concerned. Yes, of course, he knew of the prophecy to Avraham, the covenant between the parts, that Avraham's descendants will indeed go into exile and they will be strangers in a foreign land. But why did it have to be Eretz Mitzrayim? Why did it have to be Egypt? Of all the places on the face of the earth, we have to go into the very nucleus of depravity, of moral degeneration? Is that where my household and my children, grandchildren, great-children, great-grandchildren will have to live? How is it possible they should not be influenced? What's the purpose of putting Klal Yisrael in this location as opposed to somewhere else? This is what Yaakov was so distressed. And Hashem tells him, do not be afraid. There is a very important reason why you, Yaakov, and Yosef, and the holy Klal Yisrael must be in Egypt. It is exactly because Egypt is the center and the foundation of all depravity and degenerate behavior. That is exactly the reason why you must be here. Why is that? The Or Chaim HaKadosh reveals to us something of great importance. We know that Klal Yisrael, God tells Avraham that not just we're going to be under the thumb and the rule of other nations, but we will be sent into exile. What's the purpose of exile? Why is it that Jews have been dispersed throughout all four corners of the globe? You don't see that by other people. Chaim shares with us from the works of the sacred, holy, Kabbalistic teachings. When Adam and Chava ate from the tree of knowledge, they brought impurity upon themselves and unto all mankind, all of their offspring that would come from them. And the holy souls that were destined to emerge from Adam and Chava in future generations were now stained and trapped. The sanctity of these souls was being suppressed. In the language of our sacred holy books, they say that there are sparks of sanctity, nitzutzas hakadosha, that were trapped under the peel and the shell of this tumah. It's almost as if the sin creates a thick barrier that does not allow the sanctity to emerge and permeate the environment. It's trapped. And there are seeds of sanctity and sparks of sanctity that are found throughout the world, and they are trapped. And Yaakov and his household and Yosef were on such a level of kedusha, of sanctity and holiness and purity. They functioned like a magnet, that there might be small little particles, metallic particles, but when there is a strong magnet, they are drawn with a force and a power that helps them remove themselves from whatever is suppressing and trapping them. This was the function of Yaakov. That's the purpose of Golus. The purpose of Golus is that Klal Yisrael, the essence of purity and sanctity, those who received, revere, and observe and fulfill God's Torah and mitzvahs, they will function like a magnet, awakening, inspiring, kindling the flames and the sparks of sanctity that are trapped within some of the souls. And these sparks will burst and the souls will awaken with a knowledge of God, some of them clinging to Judaism, converting and clinging to Judaism, or even if they don't, but they begin to discover a purpose for their existence, a need for a moral, ethical behavior. And this is what Hashem is saying to Abraham. Don't be afraid that it's Egypt that has been chosen as the destiny for your exile. Ki l'goy asimcha sham, I will place you there for a great nation. Not that you will become a great nation. You can become a great nation anywhere. But there is a great nation of holy sparks of sanctity found within the souls of those who are trapped beneath the suppressing forces of the Egyptian culture. And you, Yaakov, and only you can function to release them and allow them to emerge and experience a knowledge of God. That's why this is indeed part of your mission. And I will be with you if you're concerned. I will go. How do I know that we won't be influenced? Because indeed, Klal Yisrael was influenced by their environment in Egypt. Hashem says, I will be with you. Hashem doesn't dwell amongst the impurity. Hashem is telling Yaakov, there will always be elements of sanctity and purity amongst Klal Yisrael, even when we find ourselves under the influence of a culture or a civilization which is diametrically opposed to that of Torah and mitzvahs. There will still be sanctity, and I will be with you. And based on this, we understand at the end of the Parsha, it says that Yaakov and his family lived in the land of Egypt in the area of Goshen. Vayeshev Yisrael be'eretz Mitzrayim, and Israel dwelled in the land of Egypt, be'eretz Goshen, in the land of Goshen. We know the land of Goshen is in Egypt. That it tells us earlier in the portion when Yaakov comes down to Yosef, he takes him and he settles him in Goshen. We know Goshen is in Egypt. Why does the verse have to emphasize Yaakov is living in the land of Egypt, in the land of Goshen? To tell us Yaakov indeed was living in Goshen. Why? Because he was there to create a source of inspiration for those who are trapped in Egypt. Even the word Mitzrayim comes from the Hebrew word meitzar, a border, a suppressive border that does not allow those to freely exit. This is Mitzrayim, the sparks of holiness that emanate from Adam and Eve that became suppressed within the peels, the shells, the thickness of the impurity that resulted from the sin of eating from the tree of knowledge. These were now to become excited and released by virtue of exposure to Yaakov, Yosef, and Klal Yisrael. And this indeed is the reason why Jews have been sent throughout all corners of the world, of the globe, so that through a moral, Torah, ethical, proper behavior, we can be a role model and a source of inspiration for others to enable the sanctity, the sparks of sanctity in their souls to emerge. We find ourselves in exile. Many of us felt living in America is not exile. It's so comfortable. Now we're beginning to get a very, very strong taste of this exile. And we ask ourselves, why are we here and what's our purpose? And this is part of our purpose, that we too, by virtue of living a Torah life, a life of mitzvahs, of morality, ethics, proper behavior, we can also become a light unto the nations as role models, enabling them to discover and release the sparks of sanctity found within all the souls of those who trace their lineage to Adam and Eve. May we be worthy of seeing these sparks of sanctity come forth and lead mankind to a proper path in which we can all enjoy peace and harmony in our lives. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay Jewish. Have a wonderful Shabbat.